Man, say Game 3 of the NBA Finals, Pacers versus Thunder, was a movie. We're here to talk about it. I'm here to give my thoughts and my opinions, my initial reaction. The game had just ended. The Pacers ended up taking a 2-1 lead series, defending their home court, bouncing back after that horrendous loss in Game 2 against OKC. And they came in Game 3 with a big win on their home court, much needed win. They got production from everybody. But before I get into that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 400 subs, so I need to make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for me. Everything support is free, so make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for me. But let's go and get right into it. Man, first thing I want to say, man, the Pacers, they showed y'all what type of team they is all playoffs long. They're a team that's resilient, that's going to stay with it, they're going to stick to their game plan, they're going to stick to how they play, regardless of time and score. It don't matter. You got to play them a full 48 minutes, and that's what they show you throughout these playoffs, because if you don't, they will make you burn. But tonight, this was just a good outing for the Indiana Pacers. They got contributions from every guy that played tonight. Whether that was even if you look at the box score, guys that you feel like only had 2, 3, 5 points, it don't matter. Their impact was definitely felt, especially on the defensive side of the ball. What Rick Carlisle did, his game plan, and what he did today and against SGA, and the coverages that he threw against SGA, with Chef Kiss. Because look, I look at it like this. I'm not saying that the New York Knicks is on the same level as the OKC Thunder, but I feel like the New York Knicks kind of prepared the Indiana Pacers for what prepared them for the OKC Thunder, what OKC can throw at them offensively. When you look at Jalen Brunson, you look at SGA. I'm not saying, obviously SGA is better, but I'm saying when you look at the play styles, 2 ball dominant guards, that like to get into the lane, that's have the ball in their hands consistently at the time. Most of the offense runs through them and things like that. So when you look at a Jalen Brunson, you look at an SGA, they basically comparable. You can compare those two guys. You can put them in the same sentence when you talk about in terms of play style. Now it looks a little different, but in the grand scheme of things, they kind of play the exact same. When you look at a Chet Holmgren, they got prepared from Karl-Anthony Towns. Chet and Karl-Anthony Towns. Two guys that 7-footers. They can play inside out. They can stretch the floor. Chet's a little bit better defensively, but the thing is, I feel like the New York Knicks series was so prominent for the Indiana Pacers to get them some type of key to success of what they can do for on OKC. When you look at it, and tonight, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he looked exhausted tonight. Exhausted. And you got to give credit to the Indiana Pacers, because they're making them work on the offensive end and they're making them work on the defensive end. Starting with the offensive side of the ball. When you look at it, you got Andrew Nembhard for 48 minutes of the game. Whenever he's in the game, he's picking up 48 minutes, hounding them, making sure he getting those straight line drives, making sure every shot is contested, making sure he up underneath him, making sure he's fighting. He fighting through those screens. He's giving over the top on those screens. They send a double team. They pressure him all night long. When Ben Shepherd, he's coming in, he's making sure that he's picking up 94 feet before the ball is even inbound. He's all up in SGA's grill. He can smell SGA breath. That is good coaching right there. Basically what you're doing is kind of like what they did with Jalen Brunson. They wearing them down. They leaning on them and they wearing them down as this series go on. Because if you look at it, every time you look up, his hands is on his shorts. He's bending over, gasping for air. You look at it, some of it in crucial parts of this fourth quarter in this game tonight, and when SGA, he needed to make plays offensively and defensively, he was ball watching. It's a specific moment. He was holding Tyrese Halliburton. He was holding him. He almost got a steal. Tyrese Halliburton, he got the ball to the corner. He shot the 3. SGA, he just sitting there, standing there. Tyrese Halliburton ended up getting an offensive rebound and ended up scoring off that possession. SGA, that just goes to show you that as this game prolongs and as this series prolongs, there's going to wear on. They showing that wear and tear on SGA. Like I said, they throwing Benedict Mathurin on him, picking up 94 feet. Ben Shepherd, 94 feet. Nembhard, 94 feet. Neesmith, 94 feet. Whoever's in the ball game for the Indiana Pacers, whoever defending the SGA, they're making sure he work and making sure he see a swarm of bodies whenever he beat his initial defender, and making him a playmaker instead of beating them all offensively. When you look at the game in game 1, the game that the Pacers won, He had 38 points, yes, but it took him 31. It took him 30 shot attempts to get them 38 points. Inefficient from the field. When you look at tonight, he had 24 points. He had 20 shot attempts. So you showing his legs is not there. His rhythm is not there. They showing him that as long as we just stay in his grill, stay in his mouth, stay in his face, hound him for a full 48 minutes, they're going to have some type of success. Because the 2 games that they won, they kept SGA basically under wraps. And look at the other guys. When you look at SGA tonight, he had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. When you look at a game 1, the game that the OKC Thunder lost and the Pacers won, when he had the 38 points on 30 shot attempts, he had 3 assists. You look at game 3 tonight, the OKC Thunder lost and the Pacers won. He had 24 shots, but took him 20 shot attempts and had 4 assists. He had 6 turnovers tonight. So that just goes to show you that the Indiana Pacers defense and Rick Carlisle defensive scheme is working. And they showing you the discipline of keeping up this type of defensive intensity for a full 48 minutes. So I gotta give credit to them for what they doing on the defensive side of the ball. SGA only went to the free throw line 3 times tonight. He was 5 or 6 from the free throw line. He had 24 points. We look at it. Chet Holmgren, 20 points and 10 rebounds. Jalen Williams with 26 points and 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Luke Dort gave you 4 threes. He was 4 for 5 from the 3-point line. But the biggest difference tonight, because you look at your top 3, your big 3 for the OKC Thunder, and what they did do in game 1. You know, Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams particularly did not show up in the big moments in game 1, and that's ultimately what lost in this game. But the big 3 in tonight's game, in game 3, the big 3 showed up. 24 from SGA, 20 from Chet, 26 from Jalen Williams. But the biggest difference tonight was the bench. You get 18 points from your bench tonight for OKC. But when you look at it for the Indiana Pacers, you get 8 from Obi Toppin. You get 4 from Ben Shepherd. You get 10 from McConnell. You get 27 from Benedict Mathurin off the bench. The 3rd most points in NBA Finals off the bench in Jason Terry. And you know who Jason Terry paid for? Rick Carlisle in their 2011 NBA Finals. Hey, history, I'm not going to say history is repeating itself, but I'm just saying, it's not a coincidence that the 2 times that the most points has been scored off the bench coming in the NBA Finals have been coached by the same guy. I'm just saying, this was a good overall performance from the Indiana Pacers. I want to start with the Pacers because, like I said, the number one thing is their defense and pressure and defense and intensity, what they putting on SGA and slowing him down and wearing him down. Make sure he see bodies. Making sure everything is hard for him. Nothing is easy. No straight line drives. Everything got to be a contested jump shot, or it got to be a hard. Everything is hard for SGA right now. Nothing has come easy, and that's been the key to ultimate success. The number 2 thing, like I said, the bench points tonight. You know, you look at game 2, you get 20 points from Aaron Wiggins. You get 20 points from Caruso off the bench from OKC. So as we see in these finals, that depth and bench production has been at an ultimate premium. And whoever bench can show us up more is the team that ultimately seems that's coming out on top. And tonight, Indiana Pacers, they came out on top. I don't know how many, was that 37? That's 37. What's that? 41. They had 49 bench points tonight from the Indiana Pacers, and you only get 18 from the OKC Thunder. You look at it, Aaron Wiggins, 9 minutes, 0 points. You know, Isaiah Joe played 4 minutes, gave you 6. Isaiah Hartenstein, 18 minutes, gave you 4 points. Caruso, 32 minutes, 8 points. Cason Wallace, 24 minutes in the starting lineup, 7 points. Then when you look at it from the Indiana Pacers, you get Pascal with 21 and 6. You get you get Tyrese Halliburton, who I said before I get into Tyrese Halliburton, because like I said after game 2, if you want to give your team a chance to be able to come back on your home court, and you want to win game 3 and game 4, because these are important games for you if you want to win the NBA Finals and bring your first championship home in Indiana, you're going to need your star player to be your star player in the first 2 games. You look at it, outside of the game winner, man, Tyrese Halliburton has really been a non-factor. But tonight he bounced back and he showed you why he's a star player, why he's the head of the snake. And he run and he goes the team goes as he goes. And he got to keep up this consistent level of play. Because like I said, it's not really been You know, his highs been highs in these playoffs, but his lows been lows. Now you got to be able to keep a consistent flow. Your floor can't be 8 points, 10 points, man. That can't be your floor. Your floor got to be at least 15, 20. Your ceiling got to be 30. Now tonight you gave them good production tonight, and what ultimately will draw the team to the win, but the bench. So like I said, point number one is the defense. Point number two, bench points from the Indiana Pacers. And number three is Tyrese Halliburton tonight, the way he showed up. He had 22, 9, and 11. He was 9 and 17 from the field, 4 from 8 from the 3-point line. He was aggressive from the start. And that's what we've been looking for from that dude. Because listen, if we gonna give you these superstar tags, these superstar labels and things like that, bro, you gonna need you to be a certain level of consistency and a certain level of greatness from you, man. You can't be mad when niggas bashing your ass and you over here bullshit, man. You gotta be on your game, bro. You gotta be on your game. And tonight he did that. You get big time shots when your team need them. Big time threes. You was aggressive from the start, taking what the defense gave you. It was still sometimes in this game where I felt like it was a little too passive, where you had a floater. Your floater game was going tonight, and you passed it out for open guy. Now understand you're a pass first point guard. You like to get your teammates involved in the defense collapse. You like to make the right play. But sometimes it's the NBA Finals. So like I said, 2 points is better than no points, especially when you go up against this type of defense. But tonight they did a good job of establishing pace on miss and makes. They was able to turn the OKC Thunder over, which has been a rarity from the OKC throughout these whole playoffs. OKC have not been a team that's been a high turnover team. But tonight, the Indiana Pacers, like I said, they defense. When I go back to that point number one, the defense, they leaned on them boys all night, man. They leaned on them. OKC with 17 turnovers tonight. And I don't got the stats to show you how many points they had off them turnovers, son. But listen, bro, they was getting to it, man. They was getting active on the defensive end, getting out on miss and makes, and pushing the ball down the OKC Thunder throat where they weren't able to set up their defense. They weren't able to set up their matches, the cross matching things like that, and they were pushing the tempo. And I feel like that's what showed them they had a certain level of success. Now, that's my 3 points from the Indiana Pacers why I feel like they won. It was a good win for them tonight. You know, they needed this win. You know, you're going to go back to the drawing board. I still feel like they got some things to clean up. When you look at it, Andrew Nembhard, he had 8 points, but like I said, his defensive pressure. Sometimes you look at the box score and the present and what they impact and the box score, it's not going to show the whole thing, going to tell the whole story. He did a good job at containing SGA, keeping the ball in front, making everything hard for SGA, making the work for it. Even though he had 8 points, but he still had some timely buckets down the stretch when Tyrese Halliburton wasn't in the game, and when he was in the game, taking the ball out of Tyrese Halliburton's hand, giving him a secondary ball handler and things like that, you know. So you look at Aaron Nesmith. Aaron Nesmith hit a big three in the fourth quarter to make them go up with, I think, 6 or 8 points, something like that. So he only had 7 points, but like I said, his defensive impact can't be foiled. Another guy is Myles Turner. He had 9 points, man. But listen, like I said, these guys, with these end results and these box score numbers is telling, do not define the impact that they had on this game. It was multiple times Chet Holmgren tried to bring that weak shit in there, and he said, I'm not going for it, man. You're going to have to come up with something stronger, son. And I liked it. If you ain't getting your shot going and you not impacting your team on the offensive end, on the defensive end, you got to go 2 times harder. 2 times harder. And that's what he did tonight. He was deterring shots left and right. He was rebounding at a high level, and he knocked down shots when his team needed him to knock down shots. He had 9 important and timely baskets. So that's the thing for the Indiana Pacers. Those my 3 things. That's enough for the Pacers. But like I said, it's a good win for them. They came out and won this game. OKC didn't lose this. They didn't hand it to them or nothing. They came out and took this game from the absolute start. They started off a little shaky. They were down 9 early. But on their home court, their home crowd, Tyrese Halliburton, he was the lead catalyst. He got those boys going. And Benedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell, I got to give a huge props to them because I don't know where they would have been without them dudes tonight. I ain't lying. They was getting to it. So Benedict Mathurin, Tyrese Halliburton, TJ McConnell, shit, they got to split the game ball or something, man. Or something. Because them boys, they were doing it. But for the if I'm OKC, I gotta look. If I'm Mark Dagnall, I gotta find easier ways to get SGA open looks. Because what you've been doing these whole playoffs, like I said, because the Pacers they basically been I'm not saying they giving a blueprint, but they been giving some type of a blueprint of how to be able to contain your offense. Like I said, when you look at the New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson, it's kind of similar to what SGA does. A lot of ball pounding. They high scoring guards, high usage guards. They know how to draw fouls, get to the line. They know how to score at all three levels. They know how to use their body. So they very similar in a lot of ways. And they just got prompted. And they just win a whole 6-game series with the New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson. So it's easy for them to be able to contain SGA and giving out the blueprint. Same thing with Chet Holmgren and Karl-Anthony Towns. Those two guys play very, very similar. So I'm saying, so now you got to go back to the drawing board, look at these first 3 games. You got to look at, man, how can I give my star player easier ways to get his game going, to jumpstart his offense, where he's not working so hard, where he's not so fatigued towards the end of the games. Because tonight, he was exhausted. If anybody watched this game tonight and say SGA was not exhausted tonight, you never played basketball. You either delusional or you just hating. Well, I ain't even gonna say hating, but you delusional or you never played basketball before. Cause that man was gassed. Every time you look up at that screen and you see number 2 in blue, his hands is on his jersey, his hands is on his shorts, gasping for air. He was ball watching all game. He wasn't sprinting back on defense. He didn't have no legs on offense. He was doing, that's where them 6 turnovers coming in. That mental fatigue, along with physical fatigue. So if I'm Mark Dagnall, I gotta go back to the drawing board. I gotta look at film. I gotta see where I can be able to get this man open shots, man. You gotta be able to get him more easier looks, make the game a little more easier than what it is, because he's seeing bodies, he's seeing double teams, he's seeing pressure, 48 minutes, 94 feet throughout the whole game. So you're gonna need to be able to get him easier looks, get him off the ball quicker, get him downhill quicker, or whatever. But you gotta find a way to get SGA easier looks and make the game easier for him and not harder. You know what I'm saying? So that's number 1. Number 2, when you look at it, man, you gotta be able to contain shit. This just was a good game from the Pacers. When you look outside of SGA, they just to me the Pacers just flat out beat them tonight. Like I said, you get 4 threes from Luke Dort. You get 20 from Chet, 26 from Jalen Williams, 24 from SGA. Your big 3 did what they supposed to do. But if I had to find another thing, we got to be able to take care of the ball. 17 turnovers. Like I said, I don't got the stats to say how many points they scored off them turnovers, man. But you got to be able to contain the ball. You got to be able to take care of the ball, to limit those opportunities, to let them get out of run and transition, get them easier looks, to get us in foul trouble. We just got to be able to take care of the ball. But the main thing, you got to find ways to get SGA more open looks. I think that's been the biggest thing. He had 38 points in game 1 on 30 shot attempts. Tonight he had 24 points, 20 shot attempts. That's just not going to cut it. When you got as many shot attempts as you got points, like I said after game 1, if I'm the Indiana Pacers, I'm Rick Carlisle, that is my game plan. If SGA got to shoot as many field goal attempts if he got to shoot as many field goal attempts as the same amount of points he got, I'm living with that all day. We did our job. We satisfied. And if they beat us like that means we got to play a little bit better on the offensive end. Because 9 times out of 10, if somebody got 20 on 20 shot attempts, they not shooting very efficiently from the field. So you got to find a way to get him more open looks. Jalen Williams did his job. Chet Holmgren did his job. I'm going to need more production from my bench, though. But when you look at it, the bench didn't really play many minutes. Outside of Isaiah Hartenstein, he gave 18 minutes, 4 points. Alex Caruso, he's not very much of a scorer. So I'm not asking Alex Caruso to come off the bench and give us 20 again like he did in game 2, man. So when you look at it, you got Isaiah Joe. He came in and hit 2 back-to-back threes as soon as he got in the game. We didn't see him for the rest of the game. That's coaching. Mark Dagnall right now, he's getting out coaching these finals. He's getting out coached. Isaiah Joe, somebody who can be able to space the floor out. That man, listen, bro. When he checked into the game, and I remember this shit vividly, because I'm saying this to myself. I played against Isaiah Joe in high school. So, this nigga Tyrese Halliburton, when it came and doubled SGA and left Isaiah Joe, and he hit his first three right there. And I'm like, man, this nigga Isaiah Joe been a shooter since high school. Why is y'all leaving him? Like, if anybody else, y'all don't leave this nigga Isaiah Joe, like, come on, man. He been a shooter since high school. Y'all gotta know that.